I didn't realize I was begging, not at first. Begging sounds dramatic, loud, desperate, obvious, but what I was doing looked quieter than that. I was waiting, I was hoping, I was lowering my expectations so I wouldn't feel disappointed. I told myself I was being patient, understanding, mature. What I didn't see, or didn't want to see, was that I was shrinking my needs to fit inside his indifference. I wasn't asking for too much. I was asking the wrong person. And the worst part, he didn't force me to beg. He just stayed silent long enough for me to start doing it on my own. I used to believe love was about effort. If something felt off, you tried harder. If communication failed, you explained better. If someone pulled away, you leaned in. That's what commitment meant to me. So when he became distant, I didn't question his character. I questioned my value. Maybe I wasn't supportive enough. Maybe I asked at the wrong time. Maybe I expected too much after a long day. I became very good at excusing him. He wasn't cold. He was tired. He wasn't dismissive. He was stressed. He wasn't absent. He just needed space. And slowly, without realizing it, I started negotiating for things that should never be negotiated. Basic attention, basic respect, basic emotional presence. It didn't start with cruelty. It started with delays. Messages unanswered for hours, then days. Plans cancelled last minute. Conversations half listened to. I would say it's okay, even when it wasn't, because pointing it out felt needy. And I never wanted to be that woman. So I adjusted. I waited longer. I spoke softer. I asked less. I told myself love wasn't supposed to be demanding. But what I didn't understand then was that love isn't demanding. Neglect is. Neglect demands silence. Neglect demands patience without reciprocity. Neglect demands that you abandon yourself quietly. And I was doing it beautifully. The first time I asked directly for what I needed, my voice shook. I just want to feel important to you. He sighed, not angrily, not loudly, just enough to make me feel embarrassed, like I was asking for something unreasonable. After that, I stopped asking directly. I hinted, I waited, I hoped he would notice. I learned his moods better than my own. And every time he gave me crumbs, a late reply, a rushed hug, a distracted, "I love you," I accepted them gratefully, as if I hadn't deserved a full meal. The lowest moments weren't loud, they were private. Me staring at my phone, rewriting messages so they wouldn't sound too emotional. Me pretending I was fine while my chest felt tight with unsaid words. Me thanking him for doing the bare minimum, as if it were a favor. That's the part people don't talk about. Begging isn't always on your knees. Sometimes it's in your tone, your timing, your self-censorship. It's when you become smaller, so someone else doesn't feel inconvenienced by your existence. And he didn't stop me, he benefited from it. One night I caught myself rehearsing a sentence in my head. "I know you're busy, but if you have time." I stopped mid-thought, and for the first time, something inside me went still. Why was I apologizing for wanting to be treated like I mattered? Why was my need for connection always framed as an interruption? That's when I saw it clearly. I wasn't difficult, I wasn't needy, I wasn't asking for too much. I was begging someone who was comfortable giving nothing, and the realization hurt more than the neglect, because it meant the problem wasn't misunderstanding, it was choice. I didn't confront him that night, I didn't cry, I didn't beg one last time, I just observed. I noticed how peaceful he was while I was constantly anxious, how relaxed he looked while I was always adjusting. And something inside me hardened, not with anger, but with clarity. I stopped initiating conversations, stopped reminding him, stopped explaining my feelings in paragraphs, not as punishment, as an experiment. And the result was devastatingly simple. Nothing changed, because nothing had been holding him accountable before. Walking away wasn't dramatic, it was quiet, no speeches, no ultimatums. Just one final truth I didn't need him to understand: I would never beg for love again. Not because I didn't want him, but because I finally wanted myself more. The silence felt different this time. Before, silence made me anxious. I filled it with explanations, patience, benefit of the doubt. Now, silence felt honest. I wasn't trying to be distant. I was just no longer performing emotional labor for someone who never noticed it. Days passed. He didn't ask if I was okay, didn't notice the shift, didn't ask why I wasn't trying anymore. And that hurt, not because I missed him, but because it confirmed what I had been avoiding. My presence was optional. My effort was expected. Without me holding everything together, there was nothing left for him to lean on. Eventually, he noticed, not my absence, but the inconvenience of it. He asked casually, "Is something wrong?" The question wasn't curious, it was irritated, as if my emotional withdrawal was a technical issue to be fixed. I almost laughed, because for the first time I didn't rush to reassure him. I said calmly, "I've been thinking." That was it. No accusations, no tears, just clarity. And that unsettled him more than any argument ever had. He expected a list, complaints, demands, emotional explanations. What he got was stillness. I told him how long I had felt alone, not dramatically, not bitterly, but factually. I told him I had learned to ask for less, so he wouldn't feel pressured. And then I said the sentence that changed everything. "I don't want to live like this anymore." He looked surprised, not heartbroken, surprised, as if the idea of consequences had never crossed his mind. That's when he tried. Not fully, not deeply, just enough. He said he could try harder, said he didn't realize it was that serious, said relationships aren't perfect. I listened, and for the first time those words didn't comfort me. They sounded familiar, recycled, convenient. I realized something important then. If I stayed, I would have to teach him how to value me, and I was tired of teaching someone who benefited from not learning. Leaving wasn't explosive. I didn't pack in anger. I didn't slam doors. I simply stopped investing in a future that required my disappearance. As I walked away, he didn't chase me, and strangely, that didn't break me. It freed me, because love that has to be begged for is not love. It's negotiation, and I was done negotiating my worth. The days after were quiet, lonely sometimes, but honest. I noticed how much energy I suddenly had, energy I used to spend managing someone else's comfort. I slept better, breathed deeper. I started recognizing myself again, not the woman who waited, but the woman who knew. And slowly, the guilt faded, because self-respect has a calming effect that validation never gave me. Weeks later, he reached out. Long messages, sudden emotion, promises. He said he missed me. But I noticed something important. He missed the version of me that stayed, the one who adjusted, the one who begged quietly. I wasn't her anymore, and I didn't need to explain that. I learned that love doesn't require self-erasure, that respect isn't something you earn by becoming smaller, and that the moment you stop begging is the moment you see clearly who was benefiting from your silence. I didn't walk away because I was angry. I walked away because I finally understood that dignity is not negotiable. Walking away didn't turn me into someone cold. It turned me into someone clear. For a long time, I thought strength meant endurance, staying, adjusting, proving loyalty. But real strength showed up the moment I stopped trying to be chosen. I stopped checking my phone for messages that never came, stopped replaying conversations in my head, stopped wondering what I could have done differently. Not because I didn't care anymore, but because I finally cared about myself. And that kind of care changes everything. Self-respect doesn't arrive loudly. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't clap. It arrives quietly. The moment you stop explaining your worth to someone committed to misunderstanding it. I didn't feel powerful at first. I felt unfamiliar to myself because I was used to earning love through effort, patience, sacrifice. Without that pattern, there was empty space. But that space wasn't loneliness. It was room to breathe, room to feel, room to rebuild an identity that didn't depend on being tolerated. Looking back, I realized something important. He didn't mistreat me openly. He didn't insult me. He didn't betray me loudly. He just never showed up fully. And that's why it took so long to leave. Because the bare minimum is deceptive. It keeps you hoping, keeps you questioning yourself, keeps you grateful for crumbs. But love that requires you to beg, even silently, is not love. It's emotional starvation dressed up as patience. For a while, I tried to make the relationship mean something, tried to frame it as a lesson, a chapter, a necessary pain. But eventually, I stopped doing that too. Not everything needs a grand meaning. Some experiences exist simply to show you what you will never accept again. And that was enough. One day, a friend asked me, "Do you miss him?" I thought about it. Not the idea of him, not the potential, not the version I hoped he'd become, him. And the answer surprised me. No, I missed who I thought I was with him. But I didn't miss the anxiety, the self-doubt, the constant self-editing. I didn't miss begging. That's when I knew there was no going back. Walking away didn't give me a new relationship. It gave me peace. It gave me mornings without tension, conversations without fear, silence without dread. And slowly, something else returned, my voice. Not louder, clearer. I learned to state needs without apology, to notice red flags without negotiating them, to leave situations where I felt unseen, not dramatically, just decisively. If I could speak to the woman I used to be, the one rewriting messages, waiting for replies, accepting crumbs, I wouldn't shame her. I'd say this: you are not asking for too much. You are asking the wrong person. Love doesn't require self-erasure. Respect doesn't need to be begged for. And someone who benefits from your silence will never thank you for it. He didn't lose me because he was cruel. He lost me because he was comfortable. Comfortable letting me do the emotional work. Comfortable receiving without giving. Comfortable assuming I'd always stay. And by the time he realized I was gone, I was already somewhere he couldn't reach. Not physically, internally. This story isn't about him. It's about the moment a woman stops negotiating her worth. It's about recognizing that love without respect is not something to fight for. It's about understanding that walking away is not failure. It's alignment. And the moment you stop begging is the moment your life finally begins to speak back to you with dignity. If you see yourself in this story, know this: you don't need to become colder. You don't need to become harder. You just need to stop abandoning yourself to keep someone else comfortable. Love that is real meets you halfway. And anything less is not love worth staying for. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to Stories We Tell, leave a like, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Your support helps us keep creating stories about strength, self-respect, and new beginnings, because stories that restore dignity deserve to be told and remembered. Thank you for being here.